Welcome back to the F1 Slop channel, and today we are talking about the Hungarian Grand Prix, where we are racing at the Hungaroring, which is often referred to as Monaco without the walls, which essentially means it's a track for racing. As a result, it often offers uninteresting races, and the only thing I remember that happened after 2021 in Hungary was when Verstappen decided to stunt on Leclerc by pulling a 360-degree spin and still dumping 16 seconds on his head. But putting Leclerc's suffering aside, let's now talk about the important context you need to know before we talk about this Grand Prix weekend. Silly season first off, and this week we learned Magnussen got dropped by Haas, which surprised absolutely no one. The rumours circulating now suggest that Haas have decided to replace him with Ocon, and I'm not going to lie, I am a bit sceptical about this considering Ocon is literally the worst teammate to have if you are a rookie. This prick literally fights teammates like they've murdered his entire family's bloodline. Speaking about teammates, Perez has been rumoured to be replaced by basically any other driver in the Red Bull programme, which doesn't surprise me because literally anyone would be better at this point. Heck, even bringing back David Coulthard out of retirement would be better. But let's be realistic. Spa will be Perez's last race before he gets shipped off to Formula E. We also have Sainz, who is unfortunately suffering from commitment issues. The Spaniard is yet to sign a contract and may be flipping burgers next year. Anyway, enough of silly season drama, it's time to talk about the British Grand Prix, where we saw Hamilton remember who he is for the first time this season, winning his 104th race after 945 days without winning. Personally, I'm just wondering when Alonso wins again. The last time he did win, I was 8 years old. Another ongoing theme through this season is Norris and McLaren bottling wins despite having the fastest car, with even the Bahrain monarchy now starting to get sick of McLaren's So evidently, McLaren needs to improve. With all that said, it is time to talk about the weekend. FP1 started off quite well for Ferrari, with Sainz finishing in first and Leclerc in third, but don't be fooled. If you're feeling any hope for Ferrari, this typically means things are going to fall apart quicker than Perez's 2023 title charge. This was proven instantly by FP2 when Leclerc, in quotation marks, touched the wall. But Ferrari weren't the only thing falling apart, so was Mercedes, because all their IT systems had shut down with some weird worldwide issue which I don't really understand, and researching the topic is far too much effort for what it's worth. Also, much like he is losing his seat for next year, Zhou also lost his car, and absolutely nothing of note happened in FP3, which leads us on to qualifying. On Saturday we got some unexpected rain on the circuit, causing it to be slightly damp, but everyone still managed to set some laps on the slicks, apart from Perez, who didn't take long to find his way into the wall. I mean, at this point, this guy might not even make it to Spa. I swear, Perez is literally on a mission to prove the haters right. Russell also failed to make it into Q2, but he didn't miss much because Q2 was fairly uneventful, and the only thing of note happening was when Hamilton almost got knocked out by Hülkenberg. Which moves us quickly on to Q3, where we saw the C's part for Daniel Ricciardo directly to that Red Bull seat as Tsunoda had crashed. Also, I have to say, on a completely unrelated note, I love curbs that launch drivers into the air. They are really epic and safe. Anyway, the end of Q3 after Tsunoda crashed became the biggest waste of time since Monza 2019, with no one except for Ricciardo improving. In the end, Norris earned his third pole, with Piastri in second and Verstappen in third, which begs the question, how many more images of water bottles will I need to download to describe Norris's race on Sunday? The race started normally with Norris falling to third. However, fortunately for Norris, Verstappen's tactics for overtaking Norris were quite questionable, so ultimately he had to give the position back. So now Piastri is leading a McLaren 1-2 and everyone pretty much stays in the same position at the front for a while. This is until pit stops begin, where Hamilton pits for hards, with the McLarens quickly following, whereas Verstappen stays out, which consequently leads to him being undercut by Hamilton. This then kicks off a process where he increasingly gets pissed off throughout the race, and the Sky commentators blame it on staying up late and playing video games. But for real though, Verstappen's head loss through this race was actually hilarious.
Well, that's some gentle introduction. No, mate, don't give me that bull now. You guys give me the strategy, okay? I'm trying to rescue what's at stake. Did you leave the car slip? I think you were behind at the apex, Max. Okay, whatever. It's about where you're...
Hamilton and Leclerc were the first of the front runners to take a second pit stop, and even though McLaren were decently ahead of Hamilton, they still decided to pit Lando to react to Hamilton. However, due to pitting Norris before Piastri, Norris got the undercut. What made this even worse was the fact McLaren forced Piastri to stay out for 2 extra laps, not just one, basically making sure he ended up behind Lando. So now the whole team is in an awkward position because Lando is in the lead and he is pulling away from Piastri when he is supposed to be handing his position back. So because of this McLaren tomfoolery, Norris is now in a lose-lose situation because both outcomes of his situation are negative for him. If he picks option 1 and lets Piastri past, people will say he has a weak championship mindset compared to Verstappen or Schumacher's past antics, and if he picks option 2 and keeps the lead, he will get called a by a large portion of the F1 community. So anyway, McLaren starts begging Norris to hand the position back, or at least try and slow him down, for example by telling him that at certain corners he is using his tyres too much. However, this doesn't really work, and eventually they did resort to guilt tripping. Meanwhile, Verstappen's head is currently located in the Alpha Centauri solar system, whilst he is battling with Hamilton. Verstappen throws out a dive bomb and locks up, losing control of his car. He then hits Hamilton's front right tyre and launches his car into the air in a similar fashion to Perez in Mexico last year. As the car lands again, he takes some insane back shots from the ground, and somehow his car is still in one piece. He then proceeds to tumble down the order and he ends up between the 2 Ferraris. Also, I've seen some people say Hamilton turned in on Verstappen comparing it to Jerez 1997, which makes no sense. It's a completely different situation. If you look at the actual clip from 1997, you can see Schumacher on initial turn-in stops as he realises Villeneuve is on his inside, and then he realises he can crash into him to try and save the championship, so he turns in again. Whereas Hamilton only turns in once. He was literally just turning to make the corner. Was he supposed to turn left instead? Anyway, ultimately with 2 laps left, Norris does concede the lead to Piastri, and Piastri ends up winning, which in turn leads to the calmest celebration of a first win ever.
Well done, Oscar, well done. Checkered flag. Well done, buddy.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you very much. Thanks for the coordination. Well done. Maximum points. Really good weekend.
And I can't tell whether it's because of the circumstances of this win or if Piastri really just dryly reacts to everything in the same way. Also, another team order incident occurred down in P10 where Aston Martin were trying to overtake Tsunoda, and to achieve this, the team asked Alonso to let Stroll go through to 10th and chase after him. Unfortunately, Stroll was incapable of passing Tsunoda and therefore was told to hand the position back to Alonso. Now, Stroll being the same guy, may I remind you, who refused to apologise to Ricciardo after impregnating his car in China, decided it was honourable enough to keep hold of P10. Jokes aside though, I for one hope this finally gets Alonso to start driving fast again and stop his not bothering to try when a car is gimmick. With all that said, I've now finally run out of things to say, so you can finally stop watching this video, so be free.